We have always asked good questions. As humans, even kids ask great questions. You talk to kids about astronomy, and they'll ask questions like, is space infinite? Very profound question, right? We are good at asking questions. What we are not good at is answering them. Earth used to be the center of the universe, now it's not. What happened? What happened? We found out things about the universe that told us that Earth is not the center of the universe. Well, it's hard. It's hard to know the truth. It requires a lot from us. The hard part is everyone gives answers, even if they don't have the answers. Stars used to be able to tell our future. Some people still think that's true. We thought everything is made of 5 elements. Some people still think that's true. I would never understand that. 220 years ago, we did not know about the existence of atoms, and this is the story of that. 220 years ago from today, this guy called John Dalton was the first person in history to establish the fact that each and everything in the world, in the universe, is made of atoms. Before the 1800s, we didn't know about the existence of atoms. Thousands of years ago, people had postulated, philosophers had thought about, okay, this is matter in my hand. What if I divide that matter into 2 pieces, and again into 2 pieces, and again, and again, and again, and again, and when will it stop? Does it stop ever? Does it not stop ever? John Dalton, this chemist who comes up and says, guys, I figured something out. I saw something interesting in nature. 100 grams of carbon either combines with 133 grams of oxygen, or it combines with 266 grams of oxygen. Exactly double, to create 2 different types of oxides. One is carbon monoxide, the other one is carbon dioxide. Why exactly double? Why exactly double? Exactly double. What is the significance of this exact doubling, the whole number proportions? When you think about it, the only way in which exact whole number multiples of matter combines with each other is if matter comes in fixed sized packets. It's not an arbitrary ratio of compounds. It's exactly a whole number multiple that combines together. And he realized that must mean that things come in these nice packets which cannot be further divided. Humans have known about electricity for quite a while, but we did not know what exactly is flowing through the wires. When electricity is flowing, how does the bulb work exactly? Now, if you are older than 25 or so years old, you would remember those old televisions made of cathode ray tubes, really big, thick, deep televisions, like box television sets. They were made of cathode ray tubes. Now, cathode ray tubes have been an apparatus of scientific discovery for quite a while, especially in the 19th century. People were studying electricity flow. An electric beam would flow from one side of the tube to the other side, and it was a nice apparatus to study things with. So J.J. Thomson, this guy, the scientist, decided to apply an electric field perpendicular to the cathode ray tube, and realized that the beam of electricity diverted, moved towards the positive side of the electric field. He realized that the electric flow is made up of these particles, and he named it electrons. And electrons were discovered, like electrons, and people realized electrons must be a part of the atom. Wow, electrons are part of the atom. Wait, but electrons are negatively charged, but atoms are not charged by themselves, so atoms must also contain something which is positively charged. so as to balance the negative and positive charges so that there is no net charge in the atom. So people decided that atoms are like plum pudding, with positively charged pudding containing some negatively charged plums or electrons. Discoveries cause discoveries, inventions cause discoveries, discoveries cause inventions. Someone found uranium salts. Uranium salts were poured onto a photographic plate. Even with something in between, they managed to make some marks on the photographic plate, telling us that something is radiating out of those salts. So what does a scientist do when he figures out there is some radiation coming out of these salts? Well, he passes that radiation through an electric field, as you do. And when he did that, he realized that radiation is actually made up of 3 different types of radiations. One is diverted towards the positive side, one is diverted towards the negative side, and one is going straight. Once you have something like that, what do you do? Since at this time you already have a picture of the atom, the inside of the atom, why not just throw these positively charged particles onto some atoms? Well, thickness of a normal sheet of paper is too much, but gold is pretty awesome. Gold can be made into really thin sheets, a few atoms thick, perfect for this experiment. They set up the gold plate, throw the alpha particles, which are positively charged, onto the gold, hoping they would find something interesting, and they did find something very interesting. The expectation was, if the atom is a plum pudding, the inside of the atom is positively charged. Since it's a weak charge, because it's distributed amongst the whole atom, it won't be able to stop the alpha particles. The alpha particles should penetrate right through, and that's what happened for most of the alpha particles. But a few of the alpha particles actually bounced back with the same velocity that they were thrown at the gold sheet. And that was surprising. It must not mean that atom is like a plum pudding, because if it's a plum pudding, it would just pass through it like a knife through butter. But it is just bouncing back, which means that there must be some really concentrated place inside the atom which is positively charged. Why positively charged? Because it's repelling alpha particles with the same velocity, ferocity with which they were thrown at the atom. So Ernst Rutherford comes in and says, let's make this model of the atom where the center of the atom, the nucleus of the atom, contains all the positive charge of the atom, and the rest of the stuff in the atom, which is the negative electrons, are revolving around the nucleus, much like the Earth and the other planets revolve around the sun. As soon as he wrote that on the paper, he realized this is wrong. It could not work as per the laws of electromagnetism, which says that if an electron is moving through an electric field, in this case which is created by the nucleus of the atom, if the electron is moving through that electric field, it is going to give off some radiation, give off some light. And as it gives off that light, as it gives off that radiation, it will lose its speed of revolution and will collapse into the center of the atom. So people are stumped. What is going on? The center definitely is positively charged. The center is definitely massive, contains most of the mass of the atom. But how are electrons just hanging out like that? How are electrons just hanging out in the atom like that? That was a mark of the failure of the classical physics, and that was shown by Niels Bohr, who is considered one of the pioneers, one of the fathers of quantum physics. And he gave a certain answer to this problem, which gelled really well with Max Planck's solution to the ultraviolet catastrophe that we discussed in the 4 videos ago right here. Go check it out, which we will discuss in the next video. Thanks for watching. Share if you like such videos, like the video, and see you next time. And